right, y'all, let's do some talking. So before we dive in, I just want to be honest. I do have the box score up, but that's more for reference of names. Okay, so if I were to summarize this game number one, of course, Celtics win. Luka's the best player on the floor. Celtics the better team. And we already know when it comes to the game of basketball, usually, I would say almost every single time, the team is going to beat the player. It is what it is. Unless crazy adjustments are made and the rest of the team comes along with that best player for the ride of their life, then that could become something crazy. But it was just the first game, fill-out game. We got to see what's going to happen when it comes to adjustments, things of that nature. Will Kyrie play better along the way? I'm going to say yes. Will the other players play better along the way? I'm going to say yes, but we'll have to see. So, as I was saying, one thing that I saw about this game right away was when it comes to Luka, Luka's going to be Luka. It doesn't matter who he plays against. It doesn't matter, man. I'll get to Luka in a second. But based off me watching this game, what I saw was the Celtics starting five, they could put anybody on Luka. And why is that important? It's important because now you can keep your guys, and particularly the ones, well, all of them for real, but especially the ones like a Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum fresh when it comes to offensive production, especially as the game continues to progress forward. You can put Al Horford on Luka. You saw Al Horford on him. You saw Derek White on him. You saw Drew Holiday on him, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. So you can put all five guys on Luka. You're not going to stop them, but as those guys are on him, you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with those guys on Luka. And you can do the same thing with a Kyrie. And I left out Kristaps because then Kristaps, I don't think he started. No, he didn't start. But Kristaps, you had Kristaps on Luka. I mean, obviously that's not a good matchup. But my point is, at any given moment, you can have anybody that's on that floor, at least the starting five, on Luka, and then in your head, you're not really like over the top, like, oh my God, this is just too much of a mismatch type of thing. I mean, yes, you can say size and height in certain instances, but I'm just saying in terms of defensive IQ, you're comfortable with these guys guarding Luka, okay? So, point of me bringing that up is, that may be the determining factor of this series. Will the amount of bodies that the Celtics have to put on a Luka, to put on a Kyrie Irving, will that be too much of a task for these guys to overcome? Because Galford ain't going to just come out of nowhere and start giving you 25 points. Same thing with Lively. Same thing with Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, I know he's had games like that because, I think he played a few minutes. Hold on, if I'm not mistaken, he had how many minutes? He had 7 minutes in this particular game. Keebler. Like, there's nobody on this team that I can think of. PJ Washington, he had 14 points. Maybe he can give you a 20 piece in a couple of these games in the series. But for the most part, the guys that you're worrying about the most is a Kyrie or Luka. So if I'm the Celtics, just based off what I watched in game number one, I'm like, look, I'll make it a little difficult on Luka. He's still going to get what he's going to get. He's going to give you 25 plus a game. We know that, right? So we're not going to spend too much energy on him. But we're going to definitely make sure that we hold everybody else's ass at bay. Okay, so I think that's going to kind of be the game plan. And the Dallas Mavericks are just going to have to get sauna hot for the rest of this series and prove that everybody else can come along for the ride for Luka to call the Celtics bluff. You see what I mean? So as long as the rest of the players ain't going crazy, the Celtics like, cool. We know that Luka's going to do what he's going to do. Everybody else, we're going to fucking keep them at bay. So as I was saying, based off this game, Luka's the best player by a mile. Celtics is the better team by a mile, if you want to go that direction. Definitely by half a mile as a team. But I would say this, the second best player on the floor based off what I watched was Jaylen Brown. I was very impressed with this guy. He scored more efficiently. He made it look easier. Right? Much more easier than what Jason Tatum did. And he did super good on the defensive end. Nowadays, Jason Tatum obviously provided the rebounds. He did good on defense as well. But the defense from Jaylen Brown was glaring. It was like, oh man, it popped out. Okay. But going back to Luka, it just seems like that first guy that's on Luka is just kind of there just to be fucking annoy him in a sense. It doesn't matter who's on Luka, he will find a way to get to his spot. Whether he's doing it by himself, whether he's calling a screen. And the thing I like about Luka, as he gets to that second level, the second level of any defense or the teeth of the defense, he's playing so patient. He's still finding a way to get people involved. He didn't have a lot of assists tonight, but I'm just saying he's still finding a way to get somebody involved. They can get somebody else involved, or he's getting to his shots, things of that nature. Let me talk about Jason Tatum. When I watched Jason Tatum play tonight, it seemed like when he gets past that first person, it's like, oh, I got past that first person, and now what do I do? Unless there's a fucking wide open lane, party like the Red Sea for him, he's not making it look easy as he gets to the second part of the defense or the teeth of the defense. For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know what he's seeing when he's on the floor compared to what Luka sees. Okay. Now with Jaylen Brown, I thought when Jaylen Brown got past the first person, whether he went in and dunked it or got to his spots, he can get to his spots a little bit more easier, in my opinion, than what Jason Tatum did. Now, not as easy as Luka, but you get what I mean. So as I was saying, going back to the summary of it, unless the rest of the team of the Mavericks find a way to jump on this magic carpet ride with Luka, then this could be a very quick series. I mean, it could be 4 or 5. That was my initial pick or my initial prediction, Celtics in 5. But when I saw what, me being a prisoner of the fucking moment, watch what the Mavs did to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I was like, well, maybe the Mavs win this series. And I did want to see them win because I like Luka, I like Kyrie. And then the team as a whole, the character that they've built through this NBA playoffs to get to where they're at. So we shall see. We shall see. I think if the Celtics win, which I believe they have more of a chance, I believe their team, if we're going to go out of 100%, there is, to me, based off the team, and again, I know adjustments are going to be made for game number 2. We got to see what's going to happen in game 2 and 3 and 4. But based off what I saw in game number 1, the Celtics team, as a team, has a 75% chance of winning against the Mavericks. That's how much, to me, that's the difference in the overall talent is based off what I saw. But not Kyrie, but Luka is so much better than everybody else on the floor. Maybe his game, along with Kyrie getting hot and the rest of the team going along for the ride, could overcome that. But we're going to have to see. So that's my thoughts in the matter. But like I said, I thought that the Celtics did a great job with they could always put a body, especially at starting 5, could always put a body on Luka. You could put Derek White on him. You could put Drew Holiday on him. You could put Al Horford on him. You could put Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I thought that was a huge plus. And I'm not even naming guys that's off the bench right off the top of my head. But I thought that's a huge plus to have when it comes to your team. The Minnesota Timberwolves couldn't do that in the last series. You couldn't put Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert on somebody like a Luka Doncic. And then Anthony Edwards was a bit too small. He's 6'4", I believe. You couldn't put like Jaden McDaniels was a little too small in terms of girth, if you want to say. So that got ugly quick. But in this series, I'm watching every guy that guarded Luka. You can't stop them, but they were able to make life a little bit more tougher. So I thought that, like, man, that's going to be a huge plus for that team overall as this series progressed forward. So that's my thoughts in the matter. I know I didn't go into any like crazy detailed nuances and things of that nature. But that's my thoughts based off what I saw in game number 1. I would love to hear y'all thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, I'm gonna get my ass off here and go watch Nightcap. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next video.